All right, that's my cue to get started. So welcome everybody to our Time to Act Substance Use Echo session. We are recording this echo session for educational and quality improvement purposes. So by participating, you are consenting to be recorded. And if you don't wish to be recorded, you can just disconnect right now. Echo is an interactive community, so we do expect you guys to participate and come off mute when you have a question or raise your hand. And then towards the end, we'll have our breakout rooms and our case presentation. So we do ask that you de-identify any personal information. So avoid using first, middle, or last names. Don't reference coworkers' email addresses. Just don't use names. And if you have any other questions about that, you can reach out to a hub member who should all have asterisks in front of their names. So key components of an echo session. We usually start with our didactic speaker. However, our speaker is not on the call at the moment, so we'll probably start out with our case presentation. And so we'll do our case presentation and recommendations in the breakout groups, and then just throughout the call, you'll have a lot of opportunities for professional networking. So we do ask that you rename your profile. You can do it so it's your first and last name, your state, your job title, and your organization. And this just makes you easier to find in chat and easier to contact if people want to contact you. If you have a question or a comment, you can use the raise your hand feature on Zoom. And yeah, we'll call attention to your question. Pre-registration, if you want to pre-register for our echo sessions, you can do so by emailing projectscope@usu.edu. And then credit for attendance. Throughout the session, we'll be dropping a survey into the chat. And if you fill that out, we will mail out or email out a certificate of attendance for you. And then we store most of our information on Canvas. So we'll have our PowerPoints, session recordings, case presentations, and recommendations all just on our Canvas pages. And if you want access to our Canvas page, you can once again email projectscope@usu.edu. And then as for case studies, so we do offer case studies. You guys can just bring any situation that you need advice on to our attention, and you can come present on that. And we'll all go into breakout rooms, as I said before, and talk about recommendations and resources for you. And then here are social media pages. We have Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you can just go ahead and scan this if you want to follow our socials. We usually post session updates, reminders, and then just like past session information that could be useful for you. And then we also have our Facebook group. We try to continue our discussions after the sessions on our Facebook group. So if you find yourself wanting to learn more or talk about what we talked about a little bit more, you can join our Facebook group and start a discussion there. Cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and transition into our case presentation. So today we have another practice case presentation. So Alex is a 16-year-old high school student living in a rural Utah community. She's experienced significant family instability, including parental divorce and frequent moves. Recently, her teachers have noticed a decline in school performance, increased absences, and a shift in peer groups. A school counselor learned that she's been using alcohol and marijuana to cope with her anxiety and feelings of isolation. She reports that it helps her take the edge off, but it also expresses frustration about feeling stuck in a cycle of stress and substance use. Her family is aware of her substance use, but they feel unsure of how to help her. Her mother works long hours and has limited access to mental health resources, and her father lives in another town and believes she's just experimenting. The school has referred her to a local counselor, but she has missed multiple appointments. So her primary area of concern is she's struggling with mental health concerns and substance use, and her support system isn't well equipped to intervene effectively. So without the proper intervention, she may face worsening mental health, academic failure, and increased substance dependence. The challenge is how to connect her with appropriate support in a way that is engaging, accessible, and trauma-informed. So some of the goals we have are helping her develop healthier coping strategies for stress and anxiety, improving her school attendance and academic engagement, and increasing her family and community support to address the substance use. And then the barriers are limited mental health and substance use resources in a rural area, family dynamics that may prevent consistent support, stigma around mental health and substance use in the community, and then her reluctance to engage with traditional counseling services. Okay, so for discussion questions, we just have how can professionals and community members create a safe and non-judgmental environment for her to seek help? Which trauma-informed strategies such as TBRI could be used to build trust with Alex and encourage healthier coping mechanisms? And then how can we better connect rural youth like Alex to mental health and substance use support given the barriers of location stigma and limited resources? Okay, cool. So we can just move into breakout rooms. Did you create breakout rooms, Janelle, or?
Yep, I have.
Okay, perfect. You can just go ahead and open those up.
Okay.
So I think we had a really good discussion in our group. I'll just start with the first bullet that we talked about. How can professionals and community members create a safe, non-judgmental environment for Alex to seek help? And our group talked a lot about the importance of relationship building and trust building, building a rapport and allowing Alex to express herself openly rather than going straight to having her feel like she's being drilled essentially about everything she's struggling with, but establish that rapport first. We talked mostly about the school. It sounds like the counselor may already have somewhat of a relationship with her because she does know what she's struggling with. And maybe that counselors can help build a bigger community, school community around her to help her feel safe. And even if her attendance isn't good, can folks in the school reach out to her outside the school to just let her know that they see that she's not there, that they care, that they want to make sure that she's okay, even though she didn't show up to school that day. So communication between counselors and teachers, and utilizing what we have available to us virtually or through texting that teenagers feel very comfortable and confident with these days, utilizing those. But again, going back to just building the relationship and the rapport so that we can go to those next steps of potentially interventions and other resources that can support her.
Yeah, I agree. It's really important to build a support system and have people looking out for her, even if it's not directly her parents. So,
And I
uh,
loved that idea, Lisa, of the texting, only because I'm not always, I don't, that's not my go-to first off, but it is certainly the new generation. That makes me sound old. The younger kids, that's their go-to for everything. So
awesome.
thanks, Lane, for
Um,
laughing at me that I'm old.
Happy.
cool. We'll just move to Tiffany now. Would you mind sharing a few things that you guys talked about?
Yes. We also talked a little bit about schools, well, mostly about schools, but we were lucky. One of our participants, Lindsay, um, she's from Texas, and she talked about a program that they have called PALS, and it's almost like a class within the school that you can go to, and you have somebody that's there for you at the school. Lindsay, if I describe it wrong, pop on and tell me. Anyway, they have somebody that's there for you, a peer, who is there to talk with you, help you through any of the difficulties that you might have, and just be there for you. And I thought that was like, I think that's really awesome. And I think that's one of the things we talked about is how important it is to have that peer relationship. Because oftentimes teenagers listen to their peers more than they listen to parents or to adults. And so if they had somebody who was very strong, who was very, like level-headed, who understood what they were going through, but that could help support them through the process, giving them, the strength not to use the drugs that time, or somebody that they could call when they're really down or really stressed. So I thought that was a really awesome idea. And we talked a lot about also making sure that the teachers continue to have open communication with the parents. One of my favorite things about my teachers this year, my physics teachers, is that they will tell me that day, I've got two little ones who are struggling in school right now, ADHD problems, and they will text me and say, your son had this hard time doing this and this and this in school today. How can we work together to help him overcome that difficulty? And I think if you can get the parents or the teachers to be willing to do that with parents, that goes a long, long way in helping parents stay involved, helping them understand what their kids are doing and going through. And then the other thing that we talked about was how do we get parents involved in community classes or community, any community opportunity where they can learn and help understand their kids better. So we talked about if the community offered a course or offered a class of some sort, or even just a sit down and learn from whoever is presenting, whatever, offering them a award of some sort, an incentive. If you come, you get dinner, and there will be a door prize. Maybe a gift card, or maybe just something that provides them an incentive for getting out into the community and learning from other people who might be able to help them work together better as a family, or help them understand what their child's going through more. So those were the main topics that we discussed in our group.
What you said about the peer support, I know Utah has something called the Hope Squad. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but it's a similar program like you were talking about, where they have peers that are kind of trained to help their fellow students with mental health issues. So yeah, we actually had a echo presentation on the Hope Squad in our mental health echo. So
It's cool.
Yeah, so I think we'll just finish up here. Once again, sorry that we missed out on our didactic presenter today. But next month we'll be having Trisha Reynolds, who's actually on the call right now. She'll be coming and presenting. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys there.
So Shayna, I just want to share really quick two things from our group because I thought they were really helpful too. We ended up staying in a group because we had people joining on. Anyways, and this is what I love about the Echoes is the small breakout groups to be able to come up with these all these amazing resources. So Angela was sharing the Rise Recovery Center, and it's a high school that is geared towards teens. They provide one-on-one type of information as well as weekend events. So I did not know that we had something like that here in the States. So I think that's amazing. And then the other ones that, we had a lot of really good discussions, but the other two were the 211 resources, I think that sometimes we all forget about that. That's such a great place to just have everything kind of at our fingertips. And then that there is the utahfamilies.org, that they have the parent support centers throughout the state of Utah. So we sometimes just remember the ones that are in our local areas. But there really is throughout the whole state that offers some of those resources. So they'll be on those notes, and those were some great things that we came out of our group.
Yeah, sorry about that. I totally forgot about our little group. But perfect. Well, thank you everyone, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And yeah, see you next month.
Thank you.